I think this weekend, what they call Palturam has really changed the equation. And that means the bullish tone in the market, which was lacking in the last week due to HDFC, should be resurrected. I think it's a perfect time for India now to outperform. Last 2 weeks, we've been a laggard, more to do with the correction, which was much needed. But if you saw corporate results, if you saw even HDFC, it's because of the over ownership. In the end, we have to realize that this is now the fifth largest bank, and I think mid caps are stealing the show. So thumbs up to this political development. It only gathers more momentum that there can be more stability on reforms, on continuity of government, and I think that should be a kicker both for the rupee and for the stock market.
Okay, fair enough. And having said that, it's also a very big week. Not only do we have the budget, but a whole host of numbers that will be coming out. Do you think that this time around it's going to be ITC that will be very closely monitored? And Sanjiv, give us a sense as to what the expectation is from the conglomerate.
Yeah, so good morning, Avan. I think ITC, GAIL, there are quite a few large cap stocks which are coming out with numbers. Now, ITC, remember, the results will be good, but large part of that is already built in. And we know that the ESG factor has played out. The stock from 250 rally to 500. They demerged the hotel business, which is just 10%. And we will wait for more language. But I think their FMCG business, which has been a star outperformer, is going to see better performance on the side of margins. I would look for that language, because FMCG rural sector has been a laggard in this last month. And we've seen the outperformance of PSU metals and the whole host of capital good stocks. So ITC actually could be one of the better play on the FMCG side. And plus, we'll wait for more language on how the environment is. I think there will be a beat on market on numbers, but maybe that's already in the price. So I would expect this range of 450 to 465, 470 continue to ITC. On the other hand, I think GAIL will come out with very, very good numbers. And, some of the mid caps actually will steal the show. We will mention some mid caps which we think are going to be the ones which will make money. And that is where you should be prepared, because the index will need more recovery in HDFC Bank and the Bank Nifty after being so heavily oversold.
What's the expectation as we're now entering a new series and, we've gone through that slight underperformance when it comes to some of the marquee banking names. I know you touched upon HDFC Bank, but what's the outlook in terms of the pecking order in general for banks as we step into the new series, Sanjeev?
So, Aman, clearly now ICICI Bank trades at a higher valuation. It's trading close to 3x price to book. HDFC Bank in last 20 years, I have not seen, not 20, but 15 years, it's trading at 2.5 times. It becomes a perfect long-term candidate. But right now, the show is with ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank, Can Bank, I think State Bank numbers will be very strong. On the other hand, look at the numbers from smaller banks like Union Bank. My favorite here would be Bandhan Bank. I think Bandhan has seen more than inordinate selling because of HDFC, emptying its share after the merger of Group Finance, and that has played out perfect for the underperformance. But at 220, less than 1 time price to go, given that Bandhan is now, slowly and surely reduced its uncollateralized book into the collateralized side, I think Bandhan can be an outperformer. One more play which I would like to say is in the SME space. A lot of people miss the SME space. I had spoken about this stock called Electroforce when it got listed at 93, and I had given a target of 130, 150. Stock hit 142 and is available at 117. It will come out with very stellar numbers, Avan. It will come out with an FY25 profit of 35 crore. It has a market cap of 250. It is supplying electricals and switchgears to the most niche players like Schneider and Siemens. And this stock has a market cap of 250, trading at 5 times 1 year. The rest of the group over there or the peers trade at 35 times. I think the market cap should be at least 1,000 crore. But given that, I think 115 can become 150 to 175 in the next 2 months. So Electroforce is one SME stock which you should actually add in your portfolio in this, weakness of the overall market.
Okay, quite an interesting name there from the SME basket. So Bhasin Saab, good morning.
Good morning, Nikunj. Good morning.
What should we start with? Politics? Winter in Delhi? Or the gap up start in Nifty? Let's start politics, sir. Now markets are getting more and more convinced that 2000 May elections is more like a formality.
Well, there is many a slip between the club and the lip, but now the odds are getting more and more stronger after those three straight elections. Now Bihar turning Paltu is a big event, and I think there is no alternative. So if we get continuation of the government and the policies, more than that, I think then definitely. When in my lifetime have I seen PSUs perform the way they have, and it's evident that results will speak for themselves. We have been one of the better performing markets, notwithstanding this last 2 week correction. And I think we regain our mojo. And now the uncertainty gets reduced and the budget is a formality. The Fed is more on hold. The inflation numbers there are moderating. And I think it could be born homey at least for the next few months till we get the election verdict, which will maybe add volatility 1 week before and 1 week after. Nikunj. Weather in Delhi has become much more softer. It is 12 degrees now from 3.5, 4 degrees or maybe 10. And that is adding more, warmth. On the third front, you said the stock market at 140 plus. I think sustaining here is very, very crucial. And I think the worst may be behind last week, more to do with the over excessive sell-off in HDFC Bank. Broader market is hitting new highs. So we are tracking the stocks which are hitting new highs rather the ones which are lagging the market.
Okay, fair enough. What's the outlook then when it comes to, the likes of an SBI card and AU Small? We were just going through the earnings roundup, and it seems like some of the inherent issues are prevalent across both of these companies when it comes to the earnings fine print. For instance, even SBI cards has been downgraded by some of the brokerages.
So, Aman, clearly the cost of funding has gone up, and you know that SBI card is one of the largest funders from SBI and so on, and 80 basis point does mean that margins will be under pressure. But on the other hand, look at HDFC Bank in this all unfortunate sell-off or fortunate. They've crossed 2 crore on the credit card side, and I think SBI card as a brand is doing extremely well. We all know digital, fintech, and credit cards are now the best place to be in. So I think over a period of time, I would expect stabilization of margins coming by the next 2 quarters. Same would be the case with AU Bank. We are aware some of these mid-cap banks have seen pressure on margins due to cost of deposit, but I think that's a passing storm. If HDFC did underperform, then you don't expect some of these mid-caps to outperform, even though their CASA ratios are much better equipped. But I think clearly the favor now is in the realm of outperformance from some of the smaller banks, given that most of the bad news is in there, and the credit expansion, which is evident from the credit deposit ratios of the large caps like HDFC, ICICI. Those will be the ones which will be sought after.
Why is there no pre-budget excitement this time? I mean, historically, whether it is vote on account or budget, Bhasin Saab, markets always tend to speculate. There is always a buzz. There is always a positioning. This time around, there is just no talk.
So, Nikunj, the detail is in the eye of the beholder. Lakshmi Bank hit a new circuit. NBCC is up 16%. It's up 45% in the last 1 month. And Hudco is up 30%. The people are missing the woods for the trees. This is a 9-year high for a lot of these stocks, and they've underperformed miserably for the last, like I said, decade. We are too prone into looking at large cap and the index specifically. If 22,000 became 21,200, it is a hurting factor for the index players. But the broader market is where the money is. Nalco, NMDC, they are hitting new highs. GAIL is hitting new highs. I think the real fervor will come once you are through with this uncertainty and overhang of HDFC Bank, and that is now more or less played out. I would expect banks actually to lead the charge, given that credit expansion on small cap housing and the likes is going to be the flavor. There are not going to be too many big points from the government, since this is a standout. It's just a statement of account. The main budget will come later. But three things stand out: the political stability over the weekend, the overdone part on the bank nifty because of HDFC, and three, the clear outperformance of mid caps. So put your money in some of the mid caps. We suggested Electro Force. We think this stock can give you a 50% return easily in the next 3 months. It's a born homie for the bulls and for people who are watching ET now. All the other channels at 21,000 is gone. Aisha, you have to have conviction. Don't ever underestimate the bull momentum in Indian markets. Yesterday, Dow futures were lower when we closed, but seeing the Indian momentum, they closed at all-time highs. So we are, for once, the trend changer or the trend leader. And yes, Reliance did take my breath away. I have been on the positive side that 20 lakh crore market cap will come. I think Nikunj will vouch for that. Sum of parts, we think the unlocking of telecom and the retail business could be on the cards. They are one of the largest growing groups which is diversifying into the best of businesses after the OTC chemical or OTC business became cash rich. And I think, like we said, we never can underestimate that if HDFC Bank lags, then what will pull up the market? So we are going to be at new highs, and the side people on the sideline will keep waiting for corrections. This goes to show, Aisha, never say never to the stock market. And those same funds which were said we will never touch PSUs are actually biting their nails. NBCC at all-time high, GAIL at all-time high, ONGC at all-time high. I can go on. So keep riding the momentum, watch ET now and buy good stocks when the market gives you the correction.
And who better than you to give that list of good stocks? Tell us, what are your top PSU picks where people can still buy in and ride the wave?
So I still think NBCC, Hudco are going to give you a surprise on the upside. Nalco and GAIL are looking very good on the energy and the gas side, and so is NMDC. But Aisha, I think the star could be Indigo. I have been, again, as you know, I travel almost every weekend. Last weekend was Surat. This weekend was Ahmedabad. Flights are back and running. The lowest, the fastest change around time is Indigo. This quarter, the numbers on Tuesday will see a profit of more than 4,500 crore. Given that fuel prices have been low, traffic at all-time highs, wedding booking, there is not a single seat to stand. So you can imagine what the power of whenever a luxury becomes a necessity, that's the change which you have to look for. So I am very positive on Indigo, and I think that 3,500 can be on the cards once we get close to the budget. New highs are very much on the card. My other pick would definitely be Ashok Leyland. Again, the conduit from the bus terminal to the aircraft, and which is seeing the fastest expansion in buses, which they have not seen in the last 5 years, given the rejuvenation of schools, meetings, board meetings, and the demand for, their EV side. And third, last but not least, would be again Dhanlaxmi Bank, which I have been recommending from that 38 level. I think this is one of the best banks to buy from downside Kerala, aside from the PSUs, which I've already said. But Indigo, Ashok Leyland, Dhanlaxmi Bank, and your Nalco, these should be outperformers.
Okay. What about your reading then on Vodafone in terms of the kind of numbers that we saw, the subscriber as well, the kind of subscriber addition numbers that we saw for the telecom space? Yes, you had the overall net losses for Vodafone narrowing in the December quarter. What did you make of that?
So positive, Avan, at least they have guided you that 2,000 crore is coming from one of the promoters. We will wait for more funding, but they are on the anvil of getting into 5G, and they are gaining market share at the cost of the others in 3G, in 4G. I think their net ARPUs have been very, very strong at 145. And if you compare that with a Reliance at 190 and Bharti at 200, I think there is scope on the upside on that. And now for Vodafone, the only issue is the funding. As they've said, they have no obligation towards any bank which has defaulted. Their dues are mainly due to the spectrum and the interest charges which has been converted into equity from Government of India. So if you have the wherewithal to sit through, once the funding happens, the stock can be re-rated. We had a buy at the 10.5, 11. We also gave an exit at 18.5 when we thought the run-up was quite fast and sharp. And we will wait for more developments on the funding. The key here is, Avan, the funding, which will infuse capital and which will give them the wherewithal to go faster into the 5G space.
You know, Sanjiv, just taking a leaf from what you said, that the dominance is now back to the PSU names. What about the erstwhile financial favorites? HDFC Bank has clearly not participated at all. In fact, it's been on the downtrend since its numbers. And now looking at Bajaj Finance's numbers as well, there's been that mild dip in asset quality because of the personal loan slippages. You think the heydays for a Bajaj Finance, HDFC Bank are behind us?
Well, Aisha, like I said, never say never. Sometimes these opportunities are God-given. If you have a longer-term view, you know the brand which HDFC has and Bajaj has been, has always been stellar. And I think the asset quality, the overall branch reach out has been very, very dynamic. Now, these opportunities do come, but what has happened is, market, because of over dependence by large mutual funds and those PMSs on these two stocks, they've lagged the broader market, and your performance is measured against the broader market outperformance. I mean, who said that the mid cap index is again hitting new highs, which tells you that now you want to be in faster moving stocks, which in the short run can be beneficial, but in the longer run can be little more painful because they can be profit booking. I still think at 2.5, 2.8 times HDFC Bank will be a good play. I am more bullish on Jio Finance on a longer term, so I would give Bajaj a miss over here.
All right, there you have it. That's the view coming in on some of those heavyweights in trade. But Adani Energy is in the spotlight on the back of their quarterly performance. Anil Sardana, the managing director. On and get in your take then as to what you make of L&T. What's the expectation? Because this time around, we're expecting the order flow to be a little bit flat. How are you looking at the quarterly performance and how L&T has performed?
So, Avan, L&T has been a core constituent of this rally. I mean, it has been the biggest legs to the market. And, quietly it has made its way to all-time highs, despite the pessimism about margins and so on. Margins have been strong. They've been in high double digits, which has never been the case for L&T for many years that I've tracked it. But if you see Bonhomie on CapEx, it's across the board. Cummins, ABB, Siemens, you name it. Numbers will be taken with a pinch of salt. The stock is already priced in all the good news, but it continues to be the best play on the Indian capex, whether it's hydrocarbon, electrical, infrastructure, and only gathering momentum. So we think the stock is expensive and fully priced, but it is a core constituent given the outlook for the capex, like I said. So we think these 5 stocks, Siemens, ABB, Cummins, L&T, and Bharat Forge, are key players in this whole space and will continue to be market performers.
Reliance up, will Jio catch up?
Is that for me, Nikunj?
अरे सर बसीन साहब तो एक ही है हमारे सबके बसीन साहब एक ही है जब हम चंदा मामा बोलते हैं एक ही चंदा मामा सबके मामा तो बसीन साहब भी तो एक ही है
Nikunj ji, bilkul. Jio Finance, I think, is made huge bottoms around that 200, 205. Now the unleashing of the business. See, the group is very, very bullish on intermediary and financial lending and the whole fintech basket. They are progressing extremely strongly. I met the Jio management some time back in Amritsar at IM, and they were, very, very gung-ho on how they are, into lending of all sorts, with included insurance, AIF, and the whole gamut. So I think finance is not a problem. They've got a credible partner in Blackstone. And if anybody is going to take market share from Bajaj over a period of time, it is Jio. So, like you said, when last did you see Reliance move from 15, 16 lakh crore to 20 lakh crore? And the maximum period, maximum move has come in the last week. So it's been the balancing act for HDFC Bank's underperformance. And I still think Jio with a 2-year view is a must-have in a portfolio. That's been the trend. People are missing the woods for the trees. And there is extreme buoyancy and bullishness on the mid caps. And that's where money is being made. Now you can say that there is a bit of froth, but if you've been talking about that for the last 4 months, then you missed the rally. By the way, I gave you 2 days back an SME stock, Electroforce, gave you the reason behind that. In 2 days from 117, it hit the target of 115, it hit 148, by the way. I think, Awan, the standout here today will be PB Fintech. I've been advocating PB Fintech and Paytm for a long time, and PB Fintech has been my conviction buy after I met the management. Now look at the numbers. EBITDA positive for the first time, and that also with a huge margin jump. Now this company can talk of even jumping up to 2,500 crore in the next 5 years. So if you are looking for putting your money into some of the fintechs, PB Fintech is one outperformer. I think the broader market will continue to be on a outperformance levels, given that PSU Banks, PSU's ownership, real estate are going through the roof. Now that may not continue. Once we go through the budget, there will be some flattening. But I can find value in a lot of stocks, particularly some large caps, some mid caps, which I can suggest where I think there is a lot of value and where you should be actually putting your money.
Okay, fair enough. And what do you make of the data point, Sanjeev? The fact that after 7 years, Tata Motors has pipped Maruti Suzuki to become the most valuable auto company. This is, of course, using Tata Motors and Tata Motors DVR's combined market cap, but a feat nonetheless.
Well, stellar. I mean, stellar also, but it is really true conviction. Hats off to the late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala when he, put his money where his mouth is. Awan, just to tell you, about 4.5 crore shares at that 130, 140 level when all was doom and gloom. And look where Tata Motors is. It's riding his way. So 1,000 rupees on the cards. I think the numbers will be very, very strong, and they are it is evident that their foray into EVs has played out very, very promisingly. I think if there is a placement here, it could even be debt free in the next 2 years. So I am very, very optimistic. As a disclosure, Tata Motors is also in our portfolio, Awan. And I would again suggest another Tata stock, that is Tata Com. We have not seen anything from Tata Com yet. The delivery, the undersea cable, the type of volume and breadth they are seeing from the management talk. I think Tata Com is here to stay. This stock is another multi-bag in the sense this can easily scale up to 2,500 in the next 2 years. Tonight I'll be in Bombay. Tomorrow morning in your studio at 8 o'clock.
Okay, तो सर वो लिस्ट है छोला भटूरा पनीर सरसों का साग व्हाट्सएप कर रहा हूँ आपको.
हाँ बिल्कुल निकुल जी, जो आप कहोगे लाएंगे, जो आप कहोगे.
Whatever said and done, I've lived in Delhi for 15 years and nothing beats the winter food of Delhi. Trust me, I can say hands down. Kunal and Nuresh, next time we shall go to Bhasin Saab's restaurant. Trust me, the best Indian food if you get in the town, that is in Bhasin Saab's restaurant. कोई नई डिश ऐड करी जी?
हाँ, दही टिक्की बहुत बढ़िया बनाता है. It's not mine, it's my son's restaurant. और Nikunj, but the non-veg and the veg are very well mixed. I mean, people come from Dubai to eat his butter chicken. So it's so famous. I mean, some of the regulars who are there. But on the veg side, he's included a couple of good things. So if you're most welcome with Kunal and Nuresh to join me. It will be a pleasure.
नो कुणाल, हम थोड़े बेशर्म हो गए खाने के मामले. सेल्फ इनवाइट कर रहे हैं अपने आप को. सेल्फ इनवाइट ही कर ले. चलो जी, कोई बात नहीं, नेक्स्ट टाइम पक्का जाएंगे. सो बसिन साहब, लुक फॉरवर्ड टू मीट यू टुमारो. But let's understand the real estate stocks. I remember distinctly a couple of weeks ago you said the time to lock out of real estate stocks. Why is that?
No, I felt DLF and Godrej had reached some pinnacles. We have not fully exited. We have booked profits because we want to get into other spaces. And like you said, now the whole scenario is changing. I mean, where have you seen even mid caps or penny stocks go up 4 times? So we are invested. If you want, I can give you one pick, but I'll keep it for tomorrow morning, where I can give you one very, very good real estate name, which I think can double from here. So save it for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That will be my top pick on budget day. And I think there will be a lot of money being made by investors in this real estate stock.
Okay, you're keeping the suspense for sure. We will certainly quiz you about it come tomorrow. But let's also get in your thoughts then as to how you're reading into earnings from, let's say, Voltas, pretty muted in terms of the quarter gone by. They've missed profit estimates for 11 quarters. And then there was SRF as well. That pretty much on all counts was a bit of a miss. You're reading?
Yeah, so Avan, we are aware that Voltas had some issues in Middle East, which they are providing for. It still has a very good market share in the AC market, and this is a season where North is going to be much low on the volume side. It's a quality stock which is going to be the consumer arm for the Tatas, and I would expect maybe this quarterly miss to be priced, get priced in. So this has been a laggard on earnings. But we are looking at the future. We think electrical business is doing well, and sooner rather than later, once the provisioning of this Middle East is over, they should have a better chance over there. Now, on SRF, you're aware, specialty chemical is on the downside, but their nylon cord and the other businesses are doing extremely well. Yes, this quarter was weaker than we thought weaker than we thought. But Avan, I think you have to look at SRF in the hemisphere of the China slowdown for environmental and specialty chemical. I think that is coming back because now China is being re-rated to be, coming back on the economy. There has been more money printed there. They want their industry to do well. So if you are looking for quality stocks, then SRF will fit your bill on this weakness of numbers to be a buying opportunity.
I wanted to also get in your thoughts, Sanjiv, because it's been nothing short of a pretty stellar quarter by PB Fintech. How have you read into the numbers and what does this spell in terms of the road ahead for the stock?
So thumbs up, Avan. This has been my top pick on your channel for the last many months. And I told you, if you want to put your money, PB Fintech and Paytm on declines are biased. We have both of these in our portfolio. In fact, they are two of our top Fintech holdings. PB Fintech numbers have really been very pleasing. The management is very optimistic of the growth. And if I think in the Fintech space, this is one space where you want to be, then today is a day put your money where your mouth is. This is hitting 52-week highs. I can tell you a 30% upside in the next 6 months is very much on the card on PB Fintech. As a disclosure, this is in our portfolios and we have no intention of cutting down position. In fact, if we do get an opportunity, we will add this stock.
View then, Sanjiv, as to how you've read into all that we've witnessed in Reliance Industries, the kind of volatility that we've seen in the stock price. You had the earnings reaction as well. It's, of course, multiple levers of growth. But what do you think are going to be some of the key drivers for Reliance Industries from a fundamental standpoint?
So, Avan, now that it reached the milestone of 20 lakh crore, there will be little volatility. And we know that HDFC Bank and Reliance have been the pillars of weightage as far as the indices go. 2 days back, you saw the biggest ever rally in Reliance. Yesterday, there was profit booking. But look at the unlocking. Look at ARPUs, which are growing. Look at retail, which is growing. The new energy business, which is doing well. The OTC business. At 3,000, I think it is getting fully priced. So we have to be watchful. We will wait for more disclosures. And the unlocking or the demerger of some of these business or the listing will be the key for that. But we still think that this is one power engine which you must buy on decline. It had its time in the sun in the sense of consolidation. If you are aware, 15-16 lakh is where we said it cannot be over there. And it has given a very sweet upside. But now I would be more incrementally positive on some of the banks, particularly large caps, which actually should do a catch-up.
Well, Paytm has taken away my sleep and unfortunately we have to live with the reality. It's a big blow. We'll see how it goes about, but no running away from the point that it is a very big blow. Yeah. And it's going to disrupt the entire UPI, the setup, whole environment or the whatever the, digital app performance is. So we'll wait for more color, but it was a very big move and it will have it will have repercussions in the short run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got some visuals there on your screens as well. That is the finance minister who's reached North Block. It's just about 8:42. In a couple hours and more, we will get more clarity and, of course, the budget announcement being made. But that's the latest happening. And you have come from New Delhi to Mumbai to talk about what's happening in New Delhi. Sanjiv, let's get in a sense as to this entire manufacturing push, because a lot of interest seems to be hinging on this entire space. There have already been announcements in terms of PLI, etc. How do you see this theme really playing out on budget day and the year
So,
ahead.
Awan, first let me also congratulate Sandeep, another Punjabi. And let me also congratulate that he had the conviction to say last year top performer will be Tata Motor. And this year, last year when nobody said Hero Moto, he said. I have both in my portfolios, so credit to him. It takes one to congratulate
clap.
the other.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would say that conviction pays because both Tata Motor and Hero Moto are the outperformers on the index.
Absolutely.
Aside from the mid caps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, PLI is a very big move. We know slowly but surely the world is moving from China. It's not a 1 day or a 1 year or a 2 year effect, but you can already see how much of inroads you made from textiles to semiconductors to cell phones. You name the industry, it's getting the right momentum. Obviously, what we would want is that the continuation of the government and the reform, but I think it's a very, very big step. Also, Aisha, in this yesterday's US correction, the yields have fallen. If the yields come to 3.8, Indian outperformance will continue.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding today's event, I think PLI is a major reform which the government has undertaken and there is no looking back. Rural was a laggard in the whole of last year and that was evident in the two-wheeler sales or the performance. But look what a comeback. Now, if interest rates are going to be status quo to the fall, inflation is moderating, the crop has done well, I think rural incomes are here to stay and there will be some sort of a fillip to that which is more to do with politics. But I think, this government has been able to balance both the edges very well. You've had a very, very record GST numbers, the deficit is at an all-time low, so they can go ahead with a little bit of tinkering on this. So I think rural is a very good theme to play, particularly on the auto side where two-wheelers have been actually big outperformers and can continue. Just to tell you, Hero used to sell in 1.5 years back 7.5 lakh motorcycle. It is still doing 4.5, 4.8. If it goes back to 7, then the stock can be even 5,500. That's what I mean. Now, look, these are three themes which have played out very well, but you will have to see how you, diagnose the risk reward. Real estate is doing extremely well. I think India Bull Real Estate has seen its woes of problem, but now with embassy there, the demerger will get done by 12th. You are seeing even stocks which are in LCLT and not working are seeing a market cap of 1,000. At 5,000, you cannot have a market cap of one of the largest real estate owners, not only in Maharashtra, but he has one horizon and all in Gurgaon. I think at 95, 97, this has a very good risk reward of maybe doubling once the merger goes through. And we know embassy is a very, very credible name that will add on to it. A. Two, in the lending space, there is a stock called Capri Global. I think this stock has been an outperformer purely on the back that asset under management is growing at 45% for FY24. It is expected to do 25% in FY25. It has a market cap of 18,000 crore and a book of 20,000 crore, which is giving 30% is gold loan and they don't have a single uncollateralized gold. All very asset-light models with no uncollateralized loan and a book growing at the speed of 30 to 40%. 18,000 is a very, very reasonable market cap for an NBFC, the size of which it is growing. It has 1,050 branches. I think this can hit a market cap of 40,000 in the next 2 years. These are two mid-cap picks. Third is a large cap IOC. Aisha, this quarter the profit was 12,000 crore. It will do 50,000 beyond profit in this financial year coming year. Together, OMCs and energy stocks are the flavor of the day, month and the next year. And I think IOC is headed to 250 rupees, according to me. It can double from here, purely on the back that refining is both soft and hard, unlike Reliance, and their market share is only getting better. So IOC is my third dark horse.
Not even 24 hours. 11 o'clock will be 24 hours and markets are in fine fettle. The Fed is on easing. The Fed bond yields are down to 3.85. If you recollect 2 days back, I've been telling you that. And I think the missed out feeling now will come more to the fore because generally people expected that after the budget, there will be some sort of weakness which will creep in. I think Indian markets are very resilient. You've seen the mid caps outperform. PSUs are leading from the front. And I think banks will now join the rally. You had almost 30,000 crore of selling of HDFC Bank, which was the key barometer and which dragged down the bank index, bank nifty. I think that is now starting to catch up. I would expect large cap banks, FMCG, select auto stocks to continue to outperform. So yes, very much new highs are on the card, Ajay, whether they come today, tomorrow, or the next week. Today I'm saying this because there is a lot of pessimism and some sort of value buying stroke short covering can also trigger a 200, 300 point rally on the Nifty.
One quick follow-up on PSU Banks. That was the area of the market, BOB, PNB, your old-time favorite, SBI was running away because of the yields, collapsing almost 10 basis points. Do you see more juice in PSU Banks near term?
Well, new highs are here to stay. PNB, Can Bank, one of my top picks and in my portfolio as a disclosure, Union Bank. I think Dhanlakshmi Bank will be the next performer. But Ajay, if something now, I think ICICI numbers are very, very sweet. I think HDFC itself at 2.5 times price to book against the IRDA, which is at 4.5, gives you a lot of thought to ponder. That do you want to buy the fifth largest, miss buying the fifth largest bank in the world just because FI is over on it? And I think it is a very, very prudent time to buy that. Along with that, I think, there is a lot of bonhomie on milk, dairy products. Nestle has been, will be a very big outperformer after the results. And I think there are enough pockets which can take this market higher.
Hi Sanjiv, morning. Let's get a sense from you as to how you're reading into IHCL's performance and how that entire cluster of stocks is expected to do. Indian Hotels is pretty confident about double-digit revenue growth down the line, their new businesses as well driving profitability. Will it continue to remain the leader in the pack?
Yeah, good morning. Avan, there's no running away from the fact, but Avan at 500, there is not that much of room to get easy money. Today it will open at new highs, but like I said, if you are into Indian hotels, then stay put. Fresh buys at this level, at the stock trading at quite multiples will not be easy, and maybe the best money has been made. Now, yes, we are aware that average room rates are now hitting all-time highs, and there is still room to go up, which tells you that the Indian spender and the middle class income is now migrating towards more aspirations of 5-star hotels and so on. So continue to be upbeat. This is in our portfolio, and we are not adding, but we don't want to leave our position in this stock. As an advice to new investors, do your scouting, do your diligence. But now the easy money will not be so easy because good news is already getting priced in.
One last word before we let you go, Sanjiv, is on L&T. Came out with a decent set of numbers, but stock had run up. But they've guided margin expansion and very strong order inflow for Q4 as clearly as they could get in their con call. Are you comfortable getting into L&T at these levels, Sanjiv?
Well, Ajay, we own L&T from much lower levels, and we thought that the recent run-up was more in excess of doing, but that's plateauing of this. If you recall, whenever L&T comes out with results, the best is priced in before that, and after results, there is generally a reaction. I would definitely buy. Look, it is the best player as far as hydrocarbon, as far as electrical, as far as engineering, and it's coming out with 12-13% margins, which were never there. It was always in high single digits. I think their order book, their pedigree of management, their execution, and now more fire in the belly of execution will add to that kitty. Their Middle East businesses are also doing extremely well. So I would say this is the perfect time to do a sip. Use this volatility maybe for the next 4 weeks to add this stock.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.